Chandra, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
What a beautiful Hari Om you did. You know, she took the teacher training she took the teacher training in 2009. And again, fearful, she hadn't studied for so many years. Will she be able to do it? Can't she do it? It was a 17-day intensive. I think Dara took it and Chandra took it here. And the first time she did her talk, all nervous, and the Hari Oms were all wonky, and and to see her now just with so much confidence and sitting there and chanting with such depth, because you can feel a depth in somebody's voice when they chant. Have you noticed? When there's a depth and it's just Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari 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 Om, and there's a difference. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari 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 Om. One is done with a feeling, with a heart, with transmission, and the other is done with no transmission, just, rote. And this is like prayer. Many people, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I mean, what's the point? Who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? Going to church all those hours and praying, and who are you fooling when there's no feeling in it, when there's nothing in it? You might as well be home, And to get in touch with the Spirit, it has to be very sincere. It has to be very sincere, because this is who we are. This is what we are. We are spirit. We are soul. We just forgot. That's all it is. We forgot. That's who we are and what we are. And these classes here are to remind you, really very strongly. Not even, can't even be mild about it in these days, because otherwise you'll be dragged out there in the world of suffering and pain. So you have to be reminded very strongly, you are definitely spirit. As Augmandino would say, don't sweat the small stuff. Get to the big stuff, which is who you are. That's why you've decided to come here. This is why you come up to this earth, to transmit the Spirit. So transmit it. Be the best you can, all the time. And we talk about being in the now. How can you be in the now when when you're praying like this? Our Father who art in heaven, Hari Om, Hari Om, and so much fear. You can't be in the now. But it takes time to be in the now. It does take time. And this is why I love the Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali. It's so realistic. You develop these qualities, it will happen to you. Oh, I love it. Yes, you can tell people, be in the now, be in the now. It's the latest phase now. Everybody, be in the now. But if you're not even tried it, how can you be in the now? How can you just step away? How can you just step away? So sometimes it does take time. And others, you just click. And now people are learning quicker. We're living in a very interesting time. It's really very exciting for the spiritual world. People are picking things up much quicker. I remember when I taught my first RTT 20 years ago. Oh my God, do you know how many times I had to repeat one sutra? I used to spend hours. I was never on time. We finished at 8 and, we're supposed to finish at 8 and I'd go until 10 o'clock sometimes in the early days because it was so difficult that I got a reputation of always finishing late. But it wasn't that I wanted to finish late. I realized people could not get that, they couldn't get the information. It just took them that much longer. But these days, I see every time I do a teacher training, I see people get it faster. They just get it faster. There's a lot more about the Spirit. Why? Because more and more we need to change this world. And the only way we're going to change the world is by changing ourselves. Again and again. You cannot change the world if you don't, and actually it's not even changing yourself. Be yourself is more like it. And yoga tells us, what is our state? Truth, knowledge, bliss? Absolute. Absolute. When we die, we no longer have this body. So we sacrifice a very little time for a long time. You're going to be in the spirit world much more than you will be on this earth. Much more. What did the scriptures tell us? We're immortal. Even if you don't believe in reincarnation, let's say you're immortal. So you're going to spend a lot more time in the spirit world. Now, and Lord Jesus said, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. We say, as you think, you become. So what kind of state do you want to be in when you die, when you leave this body, which we all have to? You want to be in the highest state to get to the highest house, don't you? Don't you want the nice, peaceful mansion? Because the mind will take you where you are. See, if your mind is troubled, even in this world, I have noticed, remind me about this announcement, I will forget. Even when you're living in this world, haven't you noticed, as you all are becoming, I'll give you my own story and then you will notice in your own life. You know, when I first started teaching many, many years ago, sometimes people would come to, at that time I was teaching in a temple in Gibraltar. I had people come in, little negative, always criticizing, always finding fault. And some of my students would say, Nalanie, why do you allow them here? And I said, no, I do nothing. You know, whoever God sends is welcome. And if the energy is too much for them, they'll walk away. So none of you are to say anything to these people. If God or the universe sent them, I told you my meaning for God is the God of love. Send this person in. Let them say whatever they want. When they're not, you know, when they can't take it, they'll go. Always 2 or 3 weeks later, without a doubt, they can't come anymore. Why? Because they can't face the energies too light. So they themselves will go. So you never have to worry about people leaving. Huh? If they're negative, they'll go. They can't handle the energy. So it's really a nice thought. So if you stay in a high energy field, then nothing negative can come to you. I remember a long time ago, you know, as a child, I used to see lots of things. You made it. The Om-Tram gums worked.
I told you. 10 minutes and I was out in Spain.
I told you, they do work, don't they?
I was trying to call you and so excited. I can't believe it, I can't
It
believe
worked.
it.
No, she called me about 20 to
Sorry,
6.
to
Yeah, sorry. And they were 45 minutes in the queue in Gibraltar. And she said it was really stuck. And they were way by the church. So I said, oh. So I said, just start doing the Om-Tram Gums. You never know. Whenever I'm stuck, I just do that. We were in Finland, and we had to go give a talk, and poor Ulla was pulling her hair out, worried. Nalanie, you're the speaker. You're never going to get there by 6 with chock-a-block traffic. And I said, don't worry. Doesn't matter. We'll just do some Om-Tram Gums. The moment we did the Om-Tram Gums, everything started to move. And of course, without just trust, total faith. And we got there at 5 to 6. Miracle. Really, the traffic was like Gibraltar's queue, stuck. So they do work. So next time you're stuck, don't get upset, don't get worried. Om-Tram Gums. Healing mantra.
That's what we did when you lost. We left the iPad.
Oh, do you remember? Yes, I left my iPad on the roadway in Portugal. Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah, I left it in a restaurant. Can you believe it? And I got it. And I had a little angel. We stopped because we couldn't on the motorway. You know, you can't turn back in Portugal, right? Once you get there, it's another 25 minutes. And I found, you know, we passed this little house, you know, with these police people or whatever they were, attendants. So I went in and I said, you know, I left my iPad. I know exactly where. I know the bag, and it's at this place. Could you call them? And so he got all the numbers. He was so nice. Of course, he called them. They found the bag. Keep them there. She's coming.
He spoke English?
He spoke English perfectly, so there was no problem. You know, difficult to find Portuguese that speak English. Because his friend couldn't speak a word of English, and he could. And he was so nice. And I got my iPad back. All my information, so... Actually, we weren't really worried, were we?
No.
I said, look, if it gets lost, great. I don't have to work for a few days. It sounds wonderful. It's quite interesting. Well, when you don't worry and you just trust, things work out as they should work out. But going back to a story, when I was younger, yeah, I used to see lots of things, and I prayed. I didn't want to see so many things, you know, hear sounds, etc. And I got my wish. If I had to get messages from anywhere, let it come direct to me in dreams. If there's anything I needed to know, I used to say to the universe, let me know in my dreams. You know, and that's how I get all my messages, and that's how I got the message that I had to start teaching 22 years ago, in a dream, not one dream, 5 dreams. And the last one was so powerful that I just called up and found a place and started, you know. So I asked to get my message in dreams. So anyway, I get, at that time I was living in Gibraltar, and I had part-time help. Carmen used to help me with my children, because I used to be working all day and teaching in the evening. So suddenly Carmen comes to me, and she said to me, my daughter's future mother-in-law says to give you a message. And I said, well, I don't even know your daughter's future mother-in-law. What is the message? She said that there is this young girl. She's not in her body, and she wants to get in touch with you. She really needs to give you a message for her mother. And already I said, okay, I knew who it was, because it was one of my daughter's friends who had passed away in a car accident. So I said, but Carmen, I find it really odd. Why has she gone to somebody who is so far that I don't even know? So, I don't know. I said, well, go find out. So Carmen went back to her daughter's future mother-in-law and said, why has she come to you? And she said, I really don't know, and I'm a little scared. And she even gave me her name. And she said, but she told me that she can't come either to Carmen or to myself because we were too much in a higher energy. We're in a high energy, so she couldn't come to our light. And that's why she had to pass a message through somebody who wasn't in such high energy to give us the message. Of course, the next night I had a dream with this young girl, and I needed to give her mother a message, which is confidential, and I did. So I was very grateful to be able to do that. But that taught me a lot about energy fields and about people and energy. As you lift your energy, you attract things on a higher level. If your energy is low and full of anger, you will attract. No problem at all. So the only reason why I'm telling you this story is so that you start to feel safe in dealing with your own spiritual energy. Start to be comfortable with yourself. Try not to get information from outside. Try to raise your own energy level so you get direct communication with whatever you need to get direct communication with. And whatever you need to know will be told to you. Or whatever needs for you to know to tell a friend or somebody you love will be told to you. It's just, you just have to, like Sri Patanjali says, you know, by the practice of the 8 limbs of yoga, the impurities dwindle away, and there dawns the light of discriminative discernment. You just have to practice those things, you know, and then you will be in the now. You will be in the now, but you've got to be patient with yourself, and you've got to trust yourself. And you will be put through the mill. You will be tested. Anybody on this spiritual path is always tested. Why? Sometimes I fight with that energy there. I say, you bully us. But it always comes back in love and tells me, it's training. You know? You train your physical muscles, you do yoga, you go to the gym, you go treadmilling, you train that. So we need to train your spiritual muscles. Yeah, my master always used to say that. This is training your spiritual muscles. So anytime I learned after that, anybody caused me pain, tapas, accepting help, pain for purification. Pain comes for us to be more pure. I just say thank you. Of course you get the anger, the pain, the hurt initially, but I always say thank you. Thank you for this, because this is making me stronger. And better still, thank you for this pain. And thank you for the gift of not retaliation, because that gives me freedom. Because normally when people cause you pain, even in your heart, you want to retaliate. And when the point comes when you just really don't, because you know so truthfully that all is divine, and this is just your training, it's such a feeling of freedom. You know, you feel so free. It's the best feeling in the world not to want to hurt anything that is living, even if they hurt you. It gives you that wow, that unconditional love that makes you feel good. So never worry about unconditional love. You will be hurt, I tell you 100%, I guarantee it in this life. I really do. But it doesn't matter, you just fight for your highest good. Doesn't matter if people can't live up to that highest good. You trust yourself, that's who you are, that's who we are, that's what we were born to be. And people will talk about you and they will criticize you and they'll find fault with you. And that's also okay, so long as you can go to bed and be truthful to yourself. And that is the sutra we're going to cover today. By the practice of truthfulness, all nature becomes subservient. So can we turn to that sutra? What do you want? Thank you, Shanti. And even better, so I didn't say it well, so let me read it better. To one established, look at this, to Sutra 33, page 131.
36.
36. What did I say?
33.
Oh my God, you might need new glasses. To one established in truthfulness, actions and their results become subservient. Would somebody read that first paragraph? Anybody who loves to read. Where's the bravery gone?
To one established in truthfulness, actions and their results become subservient.
The first paragraph. Thank you.
Oh, I go on.
Yeah, go on.
By the establishment of truthfulness, yogis get the power to attain for themselves and others the fruits of work without doing the work. In other words, things come to them automatically. All nature loves an honest person. Then you need not run after things, for they will run after you. And if you are always truthful, if no lie comes from your mouth, a time will come when all you say will come true. Even if you say something by mistake, it will happen. Because by the practice of satyam, the words become so powerful and clean that honesty observes you. It wants to be with you always. If a curse is spoken, it will happen. If a blessing is said, it will happen. The more we lead a life of honesty, the more we will see the results, and that will encourage us to be more honest.
Thank you. And with establishment in honesty, the state of fearlessness comes. One need not be afraid of anybody and can always lead an open life. Where there are no lies, the entire life becomes an open book. And this is really, really important. In my life, I have seen, and I'm sure all of you have seen, and in your own life, when you are dishonest, when you are not speaking the truth to anyone, you're hiding something, aren't you? You're hiding something. When you're hiding something, there's no freedom in it. And I know many people who have a habit of just telling untrue things. They're never happy. They're always agitated. Because if you tell a lie, and 6 months later, the person comes to you, you can't remember the lie. Can you? So you get nervous. Did I say that? No, I didn't say that. You try to defend it. You get very nervous, you get very agitated. But if you tell the truth is always the truth, the truth, the truth. So 6 months later, the person comes to you and said, you said this? Yeah, I said this. Because it's so clear. There's no nonsense in the mind. When there's no nonsense in the mind is very pure. Blessed are the pure, they shall see God. So when the mind is very pure, then only can you be in the now. Because there's nothing good. What are you hiding? What are you saying? What did I tell this person? I can't remember. I told him that and I really did that. And so lies make you lose your peace. So be very careful about lying. Gurudev tells us, when are we allowed to lie? Because we also say, don't tell unnecessary white lies. Also, I know people who like to exaggerate things. Have you noticed that? And they're not really lying, but they are, because they're not being really truthful. They exaggerate because they just love to make themselves more important. It's an ego thing. So they will say more than is truthful. So unnecessary white lies, try and avoid those two. When you catch yourself doing that, stop it. Most people do this. I know I used to be great at doing that. You know, the Indians say you put masala in it. You add salt and pepper to make it more tasty. Actually, it doesn't serve any purpose. It just gives you a lot of headaches. When is a lie accepted? When can one practice a white lie?
When you protect the other person
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, there's a typical, very famous story, Sanskrit story, that goes like this. There was a priest who lived in a hut. There's a priest who lived in a hut, and he had made a promise to practice truthfulness all his life. That's what he made a promise to do. So one day he's there in his hut and he's meditating, and this young girl runs into his hut, hides herself in the wardrobe, and hides away, shaking. Suddenly, a few minutes later, two thieves come in with knives, and they go, you know, where's the girl? Where's the girl? Tell us where's the girl. We know she came in here. But he had made this promise for truthfulness, and he was a priest. So he answered, what would a priest like me be doing with a young girl in my house? She would be thrown out. So of course the thieves thought, he's a priest. They all knew that he was practicing truthfulness. So they went away. By telling the white lie, what did he do? He saved 3 lives. He saved the girl's life. She would have been killed and all her jewels stolen. He saved his life, because if the thieves saw that he was a witness, they would get rid of him too. And he saved the thieves' lives, because they would have been kept in prison or hung for the murder. So by telling a white lie, exactly as you said, he saved 3 lives. So that is the only occasion where you can say a falsehood. Let's not call it a lie, it's a falsehood. But otherwise in our lives, when you practice the truth follows you. And here it says, the truth will give you everything you want. I remember this practice, and I really like you to go home and practice this. In the early days when I studied Sri Patanjali, and I said, I've got to practice truthfulness. So, you know, I used to sell in a shop. Anybody run a retail outfit? Yeah, you know what it is? Mm-hmm. No? Nobody here run a shop before? Okay. Right, you always want to sell. So sometimes I didn't like something and I would say I liked it. No more. I was never going to do that again. You know? So, and I really did this, you know, I would tell a client, no, you know, she's like I used to be in high fashion, maybe a really expensive dress, and she'd try it on, and I go, no, don't buy this one. It really doesn't suit you. And I'd make her buy a much cheaper one that looked really beautiful with her. And my husband in the early days, he got really angry. What's happened to you? You're supposed to sell, you know, the 400 designer dress, and you sold the 100 one. And I go, yeah, but I can't. I'm practicing truthfulness. So I'm going to be truthful. And you know what? She ended up to be one of my best clients. I didn't expect it. I just had to practice truthfulness. That was my work. Anyway, I was sitting in my apartment one morning in Gibraltar, and those days we couldn't get mangoes. It's going back 18, maybe 17 years ago. And I loved Indian mangoes. I really loved Indian mangoes. Sitting down, why have I suddenly feel like having an Indian mango? Where am I going to get one from? I laughed. Suddenly, 2 minutes later, my doorbell rings. Who's coming to my house at 9:30 in the morning? It's one of the little boys of one of my friends, Anju. Some of you know Anju. Oh, my aunt came back from India. No, my aunt's friend came back from India, and they had some Indian mangoes, and she remembers you like Indian mango. So here's an Indian mango for you. Literally 5 minutes later, from having the desire, You know, it was very interesting. And after that, of course, when you practice truthfulness, you observe many things happen that you never believe will happen to you just by the practice of truthfulness. And when I said, oh my God, it's true. Another thing is my daughter. I mean, I'm not praising her because she's my daughter. She was born this way, always born very moral. I used to call her my grandmother. Honestly, I never had to tell my son off. She would do it. I mean, I was more like his sister, and she was more like the mother, you know? And everything was, you can't do this, and you have to be totally truthful. And she has this gift, you know, that even when she was young, one day she got up, and my husband and I had bought a lottery for our 10th wedding anniversary. And you never win, right? You never think you're going to win. Anyway, she gets up and she goes, your 10th anniversary. And this just was just natural. You're going to win the lottery today. Yeah. Guess what? We won £3,000 that day. And another time, you know, she doesn't work with it, she doesn't talk about it, but you know, obviously studying this, all her life she never lies. She just never lied. And I remember when she went to boarding school, she was like, you know, Mom, Dad, you worked so hard to send us to boarding school. I'm determined to get a scholarship. No, please don't stress yourself. You know, we just love that you love to work hard, and that's good enough for us. We love sending you to school because you enjoy school. It's our joy. No, you work so hard to send us to school. So she made a decision to get a scholarship. She went for the scholarship exam. She wasn't the brightest in her class. She became the brightest and she got a scholarship. Do you know, many things like that. Her daughter, Talia, you know, falling apart when she was born, my granddaughter. Mom, with love I can heal her. She's walking. Yesterday she took her to a doctor that saw her when she was born, Talia. Talia needed an x-ray this morning. She took her to the doctor. The doctor was she said the doctor got so excited. She hadn't seen her for 4 years. And she said, I don't believe this is the same child. I never believed this child was going to walk. I never believed this. Do you see? So when I watch her life in truthfulness, she will never lie. She does something wrong, she'll tell me. Even as a child, she did something wrong, she'd tell me. And when her brother did something wrong, you better call Mom right away and tell her. And I have seen by the practice of truthfulness, whenever she's had a problem, and she's had much training, hardships, she never looked at them as hardships, but she would always rise above for the truth of goodness. And if she did anything wrong, she would always say, I am sorry right away. So I have seen she's always been saved from difficult situations in her life by this truthfulness. Nature kind of looks after her, even in the most worst economic crisis, you know. She's gone to work and they practice truthfulness in their business, and I can see there's keeping everything above board. You know, with the expenses of Talia, no, Mom, we don't need your help. You look after yourself. You look after yourself. When we need you, we'll call you. And they maintain that, you know. How does it happen in such difficult times? And I watch that truthfulness really is a wonderful practice. And here, in my own life, I have seen it. And I have seen when people make that transformation in their lives, when people do it in their lives. Shanti is another one. You know, I've watched her from always trying to please. In a way, it was like she wouldn't be truthful to them. She just let everything was perfect and everything was this, and there was never any truth in what she said because she was so busy people pleasing. I saw her life just didn't work, and now she practices truthfulness all the time. She doesn't like something, she says it at least, you know. But mostly to herself. That's what's important. It's really important. And mostly to herself, she's honest. And I see that life works for her now. It's really quite interesting. It's not an easy practice. It sounds, oh, I'm truthful. But when you study yourself, like in the early days, I really studied myself. You know, so you have to be so cruel and so, you have to tear yourself apart. You know, because many times we think we are speaking the truth, but we really haven't seen the other side clearly, or somebody else's truth clearly. We are not yet so established in truth to be neutral. So until you become so established in truth, only then can you be neutral and see both sides of the story. Otherwise, when you're still blaming, you can know that you're not really totally in truth. Because if you're in truth, there's a neutrality in your mind. You can see both sides. And maybe one side is more wrong than the other side. But there is no anger in it. You'll just say, okay, that's their way of being. That's what they understand. Leave it. Drop it. Then you're practicing your truth. You're not chasing after somebody else's truth to be yours. Do you understand that? It goes much deeper. And it comes a point where you understand that not everybody can do this practice, and you must have a lot of compassion, but also stay away from things that are not truthful. Stay away from people who lie a lot or who make up stories a lot. Why? Because it will disturb your mind. It will disturb your peace. Until you are strong, you can be with everyone. But when you are not, stay away. Because otherwise you get contaminated in untruth.
You get sick.
Pardon? You get sick. You are so right, you get sick. I
I
got very
experienced
sick.
a long time ago, I had a problem with my kidneys. And after 4 years of struggling with the illness, I ended up with an Indian professor, a nephrologist. And he was amazing. He said, Giselle, do you know what your kidneys are doing? And I said, yes, they clean my blood, they make urine. And he said, yeah, but they do something else. And then he looked at me and he said, how long is it ago that you cried? And I said, oh, I never cry. I never cry. And then all of a sudden, bang, I couldn't stop crying. And it was like 4 years or something, I didn't cry. And then everything sunk in, that I was like, okay, from this moment, I'm not going to hold anything. I'm going to be truthful to everybody around me. If I don't like something, I tell it. And it just released everything. And this kind man, he clicked something in me.
Yeah, that's how it works, yeah.
I think it's very important to do that. I experienced it myself.
Great, wonderful, thank you. You had something to say, Julia.
Yeah, just a question, because you talk about your daughter from being very young and being so truthful. I have the complete opposite in my youngest, who comes home from school every day and will point blank tell you the whole day, and I don't think one part of it is true. She will come out with and so tall, these stories, you just know they're not.
How old is she?
5. She's absolutely adamant.
You know what I would do?
This is,
I wouldn't even battle with
well,
her.
I don't,
Good
but it's
wisdom.
so funny that, you mentioned being so truthful and this and that and da. She's so up in her own world
Great.
that, but I can't, the thing that I find so difficult with is when she's actually really telling a truth about something really important. When do I know she's really telling the truth?
Yeah.
When and
Okay.
that's my difficulty.
Okay, do you know, well, you know what I tell my grandchildren, told my grandchildren since they were young. Do you know this Aesop's fable, the boy who cried wolf? Yeah? Tell her those stories. Read her this sutra. Oh, did you know that when you practice truth, wow, good things happen. So that means when you don't tell the truth, my God, there might be not such good things happening. Oh my God, I always tell my grandchildren as if it's me.
Yeah.
I never want to tell a lie because I don't want to suffer. And that's how I talk to them. And, why would I want to suffer in my life? Oh, granted, it's really happened? Yes. And the boy who cried wolf, do you all know the story?
Yeah.
Well, they still love it. And now they're 12 and 10 and they still love the story. And when anybody lies, they tell me right away, Granny, they lied. It's not nice to lie. I said, you have to learn compassion for the world, What can you do? Not everybody knows, but you stick up and speak the truth and people will learn from that. Always be truthful. So that's what you do. You read her stories. She's 5, so she's still storytelling time. Really easy to transform children with stories. That's how I used to teach my kids stories from my own life. And they also like real life stories. You know, my grandchildren always ask me, when they were little, they used to ask me much more, Granny, can you tell me one of the real stories about one of your patients? Not one from the books, one from real life, you know, that I would tell them, you know, how the boy got over his nightmare, what I told you last week, and then that way they also learn how to, when they had nightmares, how to deal with it. They used to love the stories, you know. And how when people get angry with me for no reason, how I just need to forgive and let go and not need be near them. These little stories, it stays in their brain. It's like my granddaughter, since they were young, I always told them the chapati story. Do you know the chapati story? No, they don't know. You guys do. The old one knows. It's one of my favorite stories, and it has satya in it, and it has ahimsa in it, and it has asteya in it. It's all of these values in it. So I'll tell it to you. There was a hunchback who lived in the village, and everybody in the village disliked this hunchback. He was gross. He was ugly. He was rude. He was obnoxious. And he would go around saying, the good you do comes back to you, the evil you do stays with you, and sing, 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 and everybody goes, eeks, they couldn't stand this hunchback. Anyway, he went out of the village a little bit, and in this cottage lived an old lady. Anyway, he'd sing outside her room, give me food, nobody's feeding me. So she used to feel a little bit sorry, poor hunchback. Nobody likes him, he's obnoxious, let me feed him, let me be good. So she makes chapati. You know, chapati is Indian bread. And she eats it, she cooks it, and she gives it to him. And then he goes, every time she gives it, the good you do comes back to you, the evil you do stays with you. And so he goes, after 6 months of doing this, every day, she's had him up to here now. He won't leave her alone. She thought, what have I done? Why have I given this man? Every day he bothers me. The only thing to do is now, I have to get rid of him. Nobody will feed him. So he's going to bother me for the rest of my life. Let me just put some poison in the chapati, and then that's it. Nobody's going to miss him. Are we doing a good deed? So the next day, she's like putting the poison in the chapati. Think, oh, this is the last day I'm going to see this hunchback. Excited. She nets it, she makes it, and he comes with the same rhyme. And then he opens then he comes to the window, and she's just about to give him the chapati. She couldn't, her hand starts shaking like this. I can't do it today, can't. So she throws the poisonous one, and she makes a new, fresh one, gives it to him, and goes, oh, tomorrow I will kill him. Tomorrow I definitely will kill him. So anyway, that evening, she's in her house all alone. She had a son who'd been away at war for 2 years. In those days, you know, they had no messages and no faxes or anything. So she prayed very hard every day, dear God, please bring back my son. I don't know if he's dead or alive from the war. Anyway, that night there was a knock on the door. She opens this door, and there's this emaciated looking man at the door, and he falls on the floor. She turns him over, and she goes, my son, you're home. The God saved you. My son, God has answered my prayer. And he goes, Mom, I nearly didn't make it home. I had walked miles and miles, and I looked so tacky. I fell on the street because I had no more energy. Nobody would give me food. Nobody would give me food. And I thought I wouldn't see you. I thought I would die. And suddenly came along this hunchback saying, the good you do comes back to you, the evil you do stays with you. And he gave me his chapati. And after eating that chapati, I had the strength to walk home. So how many lessons in that story? She had done good 6 months. It came back to her in a way she never expected. If she had poisoned that chapati, she would have poisoned her son and never known it. He just would have never come home. Those 6 months, she taught the hunchback kindness. He saw somebody inferior to him, needing more help, and he was able to give. So, you see, there are so many lessons to be learned in something like that. So many times, my grandkids love this story. So one day, Natasha, this was about 3 years ago, but I just loved the way she came to me with it. They were in summer school, and a little French girl had come to school, and she was a bit snobbish and a bit rude to everyone. But Natasha felt sorry for her. And so she went to this French girl, she started to befriend her, and she hadn't brought any lunch with her, so Natasha shared her sandwiches with her. Even though she wasn't very nice, Natasha still did it, because she felt sorry for her. Anyway, when she finished, when her parents came to pick her up, the French girl ran to the car, told Natasha, wait. She took something out of her bag, I think a little gift or something that she really liked herself, and she went to Natasha and she went, thank you. And she gave her this gift. And then Natasha calls me on the phone, Granny, you're really right. What have I said that's right? The good you do comes back to you. Do you know, it just sticks there. It sticks there. But you know how many times I've told them that same story? Maybe about 100. Because they used to stay with me a lot, and Granny the same. You know, children like to watch the same movies, and the same, I don't know, all of you know that? The same movie again and again and again, and the same story again and again and again. And actually, it is by repetition that they learn. They really learn by repetition. So, and adults are not much different. Why do we come here every Tuesday? Why have I been doing this every Wednesday for 20 years?
And it takes a long time to grow.
Quicker these days, because more people are needed out there in the world to give more good. So quicker these days, because just like does take time. One day, wow, it's like you hold. One day you go into that doctor's office and he tells you, you haven't cried, and whoa, it all comes out, And this is how it works, huh? So that's how I would do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Melanie, how do you approach a situation of a person that you know is lying continuously, that you know as well that the lies come from fear?
If the person is a really, really good friend of mine, I would just call them, say, look, I'm going to tell you something that I feel very strongly. I love you a lot and I do not mean to hurt you. But I feel that you're telling these things because you're so fearful. Why do you want to do this to yourself? Why do you want to cause yourself all this disturbance in your mind? Get over your fear. Sooner or later, the truth will come out. Sooner or later, always does. Haven't you noticed? Soon, they always say, if you have skeletons in your cupboard, sooner or later, they all come out. So why not be truthful now? That's one way. Some people will not want to hear that. No matter what you say to that person, they will not want to hear that. They want to continue with their lives. You just have to walk away. You should not encourage it. And every time somebody tells something that's not nice or untruthful in front of me, I try to walk away. I just don't have time. I'm busy. I'm giving them the message, as Sri Patanjali is saying, I'm not condoning a bad behavior. Because if somebody I know is always telling a lie, even if it's out of fearfulness, they need to get over it, for their own good. Even if it is out of fear, and you're constantly still being so nice to them, they're never going to get out of the habit. You're only encouraging them. Or by understanding them, I have so much compassion for your fear. No, I have no compassion for your fear. Look what you're doing to yourself and to people around you. Because when you lie, you not only hurt yourself, you hurt people around you as well. You all know that.
You drag everybody down.
You drag everybody down, whether you like it or not. So that's how I would approach it. I would just leave it be, because I don't want to be in that energy field.
Even if it's your family?
If it's in your home, if it's in your home, that means it's something you have to deal with. If it's 24 hours, it's something you have to, but sometimes your family is not in your home. So if it's not somebody you have to see every day, then then don't. Don't put yourself in that energy field. All it would do is create friction, argument, and they're not willing to listen. What you do is, you tell them they're not willing to listen. When you need me, you call me. Walk away. You cannot force anybody who doesn't want. What happens is if you force it, they will drag you down. And you don't really want to be dragged down as well. There are too many people that are dragged down. We need to bring people up. And if they don't want to be brought up, what can you do?
And if it's a real friend, they will come back.
Of course
It's,
they will. They may take years, but they will always come back. They will realize one day. But you know, you planted that seed in them.
And
You
they will be
plant.
very thankful.
And even if they aren't, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You planted the seed in them. You planted the seed of truthfulness and goodness in them. That's all you can do. You did your job in this world. Whether they come back or not, that's their blessing or their loss. And that's how I look at it. You know, I don't even get attached to that. Never get it. Nothing belongs to us. We only have one job to do, all of us, and as teachers of Raj Yoga, is to make people recognize the spirit in them, the goodness in them. But sometimes they don't want. We're not here to force them. We're not here to convert anybody. We are only here to work on ourselves and be that example. And expect nothing else. And all we can do is sow beautiful seeds. That's all we can do. Sow beautiful seeds. And people don't want your seeds, doesn't matter. It's okay. They can say no, right? That is acceptance, isn't it? They can say no. But you don't have to be there facing that no every day. Because if you're there facing that no every day, and you're trying to give them something good and they don't want it, you'll end up sick. You'll end up sick. And they'll think you're mad anyway for trying to convince them. So you gain nothing. Don't waste your energy, don't waste your time. Yes.
When you said about making people know about the spirit inside them, I rarely dream with my brother who died. But the other night before last night, I dreamed with him, and he was crying. We were in a church or something, and we were carrying these banners. Well, some people were, but he was crying in my dream, saying, "We've got to get people to see the spirit inside them."
What a
And
lovely
he
dream.
was crying his eyes out, and that's the only message I got.
Well, what a powerful message. He's definitely, yes,
When you
Come in
said
your
that,
dreams.
it's
yes.
very strong.
It's very strong because a lot of the people that are passed over are really trying to give us this message now. They're really trying to help the earth. There are lots of powerful, and that's the best way to receive it yourself. It's the best medium is oneself. And of course many people are fearful, so to get it from like direct like that is a gift. You've got to let people know that the spirit is inside them, because people are living now in such a way and cause so much turmoil in our world as if we are not spirit, we are this body and we're going to live forever. It's quite ridiculous. It's almost like we've totally forgotten the truth.
It's the only way we can heal.
It's the only way we can heal. And we have to make people recognize the spirit in them. Yes, that's all we can do. And how are they going to recognize it? When we act spirit, when we give love, when we give compassion, when we act it, they can recognize it in themselves. Right? But if you try to force feed, you have to do this. People cannot. They cannot see it. They just want to fight back. Debate. What was it? But what a lovely message.
A little
from
better.
you. Yeah, pardon?
I'm a little better with the debate.
No wonder.
But that was a very strong message from you.
Yeah, it's very powerful and it sounds very clear. It's very, very clear. Lovely message for you. Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely message for you. Really lovely. So that's the work we have to do, you know. There's you know, this that you're all here, sitting here, wanting to do, you know, as I see from your essays, wanting to do this so much, is no coincidence. There's obviously, the world needs you. The world needs you, yes.
Would you mind telling the story Good Luck, Bad Luck?
Oh, of course not. I would love to tell it. He loves this. It was like my Tasha and Tara. Same story again.
Maybe
But it is a good one, you're right.
it is a good one.
Yeah, it's the most important one actually, because life you just don't know. We just don't know. And this is the adventure of life, not knowing. You know, people go to fortune tellers to find out their future. Go, why? You know, isn't it fun? You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You never know. Anything can change at any minute. That's the freedom we've been given. When we change, life changes in front of us. You know? But if we perceive something that's going to happen that may not happen, as you think, it becomes. Remember your story many years ago? I remember when that man said, oh, in 2 months all this is going to change, you know. Many years ago when I first met you, that you're not going to lose your house, and you were so excited, so happy, and you lost your house, you see? You suffered a lot of pain unnecessarily. It was really quite sad, right? And you didn't ask, they just came and told you that. And it was quite sad. And do you remember I was a little upset by that? Because, you know, you tell people these things, and if they don't come true, then people can get very hurt or live in a lot of pain, and that's not kind. It's better to see. And look how well you dealt with everything in your life.
Non-attachment, the hard
Well, these two as a couple have really learned non-attachment in a hard way. Really, especially with homes, huh? And they yet move again. And this time, piece of cake, no problem, right? Simplify.
She's getting rid of a lot of things on Facebook. So
Yeah, so I
her
see
moves
that.
are easier.
Yeah, you really drop luggage. And that's the truth. Yeah, good luck, bad luck, who knows. There was a farmer, again, who lived outside of town. And he had a very nice horse. And the neighbor comes to him, you're so lucky. You have such a nice horse. And the farmer answers, good luck, bad luck, who knows. A few days later, the horse disappears. You know, they left the door open and the horse is gone. The neighbor comes, oh my God, what bad luck. You've lost that horse that is so nice. It's really bad luck. And he goes, good luck, bad luck, who knows. A few days later, you know, the horse that was lost came back with 3 more stallions. And now he has 4 horses. And the neighbor goes, oh my God, I never met anybody as lucky as you. You lose 1 horse, you now get 3. Oh, how lucky. And the farmer goes, good luck, bad luck, who knows. Now one of the horses was a wild stallion, and the farmer's son really wanted to tame it, so he rode on the stallion to tame it. Of course he fell down and had a terrible injury and hurt his leg really badly. And neighbor goes, you see, all that good luck, and today what's happened? Your son, he can't walk, he's lost his leg, so much trouble. And the farmer goes, good luck, bad luck, who knows? And then a few days later, from the town come these soldiers. There's war in China. And they're recruiting all the young men. So to the neighbor's house, they take his son. They come to the farmer's house, they see the son with his leg, and they go, well, we're no use for you, stay back. So the farmer's neighbor comes crying, you are so lucky. You are so lucky. Because of that leg, your son doesn't go. My son may get killed. And the farmer answers, good luck, bad luck, who knows? And that's really life. That is really life. All life is like that. Good luck, bad luck, who knows? So, never envy anything in life. Now we go to Sutra 37. Will somebody, thank you for reading that list. Will somebody read, please read the whole of that Sutra 37.
To one established in non-stealing, all wealth counts.
Okay, will you continue reading that first paragraph as well?
If we want to become the world's richest people, this is a very simple way. There is no need to get into the stock market or even to go to work. Just practice non-stealing. All of us are thieves. Knowingly and unknowingly, we steal things from nature. With every minute, with each breath, we pick nature's pocket. Whose air do we breathe? Is it nature's? But that doesn't mean we should stop breathing and die. Instead, we should receive each breath with reverence and use it to serve others. Then we are not stealing. If we accept it and don't give anything in return, we are thieves. We steal because of greed. We want to do a little and get a lot. Many people go to the office and just sit around, use the phone to make their own appointments all day, take free supplies from the supply room and accept that their paycheck at the end of the week. Aren't they stealing that money? Do we not also steal other people's ideas? If we are completely free from stealing and greed, contented with what we have, and if we keep serene minds, all wealth will come to us. If we do not run after it, before long it runs after us. If nature knows we aren't greedy, she gains confidence in us, knowing we will never hold her for ourselves. But normally, when we get something, we tend to lock it away and put the keys in a safe place. We tend to imprison our possessions, whether money, property, or even people. The moment we try to imprison money, for example, it feels, what is this? I want free movement. They have me made round so I could roll, but here I am locked up. Oh, I have come to the wrong person. The moment I get the chance, I'll roll away. Some stingy people never open their vows. The money just sits inside and prays. Please, somebody release me. Inevitably, the prayer is heard by a robber who comes to rescue. Thank you.
I love Gurudev's way of talking, don't you? He's really quite funny, and that is the truth. Try not to steal anything. Don't take anything that doesn't belong to you. You know, not only physical things. You know, when we started studying the sutra, I remember once we had a student and she had a government job and she came to did one of the talks and she said, I never thought I was a thief, but now I know it. And she really made us laugh because she was so open with it. She said, you know, we have government supplies, papers and pads in our stockroom, and I think government is so rich. So I just take whatever pads and pens I need. But now I realize when I'm stealing from them, I'm stealing from the taxpayer and all the people who pay the taxes. Because the more I take, the more they have to buy. So it was really quite a revelation for her. And I thought it was quite funny that she was so open with it, and it was so refreshing. And after that, she never took a pen, she never took a pad, she never took anything from the supply room. Then I had another student who was a hypochondriac. Every little thing, I have to go to the doctor, every little thing, even a small cold. And she also started to realize that, of course, she would get these sick notes from the doctor. And so one day while doing this sutra, she came to me and said, she said, Nalanie, yes, I said, you know, I knew what she was going to talk about. And she said, you know, I've got the day off today. And I said, yes, and what are you doing here? You should be in your job. What are you doing here? Oh, no, I had a cold this morning, so I went to see the doctor, so I called in sick. So I said, then you should be in bed. I said, haven't you read this sutra? What are you doing here? You look perfectly well to me. You're stealing wages. You're stealing time. They have to get another supply person in because you are sick. But I think you're pretty well. Coming here and talking to me about the sutras, how dare you when you're not practicing them? It was very clear. And then after that, you know, I gave her a big hug and I said, I'm harsh. And she goes, truthful. I said, yes, truthful. I said, because if I don't tell you, who will? And I said, you know, you need to look at why you need so much attention. It's a call for attention. you know, people who suffer from hypochondria, say, and when it's like, I'm sick, give me attention, doctors, I need this. It's a cry. Why are you so needy? How do you feel when you're like that? You actually make yourself sick. You make yourself more sick, you know? And this, you make yourself sick, one, and you steal from your work, two, and at the end of the day, you know, why are you started on antidepressants? Because you're not pure. So she could see very clearly that it was her own stealing that was causing her all her suffering and her health. And of course there was a deeper issue why she needed attention. And then she went back and came from the marriage, and when all that was sorted, the hypochondria became better, everything else became better. So, you know, this is why I love this psychology so much, because you can break everything down spiritually and you get all the answers. And when you work on yourself spiritually, I call this work spiritual work, and you build up your spiritual muscles, you heal. You can heal a psychological disease temporary, but you cannot heal it totally if you don't get in touch with your spirit and heal yourself spiritually. And that's why I love the Yamas and the Yamas so much. I really love them, because they brought a lot of healing into my own life. And like I said, to many, many people's lives. I've seen maybe, you know, some haven't gained so much, like for example in this story. They're two best friends and they do everything together all their lives. But one is a very pious man and the other one is a thief. So the thief goes around stealing all the time, and the other one is very poor, but he's very honest and he's very good. He goes to the temple, he looks after his family, but he has very little money. All his life he had very little money. And you know, he's always telling the thief, you shouldn't steal. Why are you doing this? Don't you know this is not good for you? Don't you know? And the thief laughs at him. Ha ha, who are you to tell me? You go and pray to your God and you're poor. And look at me, I steal and I have everything I want. He said, no, but you're causing pain to other people. Anyway, one day they're walking the road with this discussion, and suddenly the thief, the one that's the thief, falls down, and what does he see on the floor? A bag of gold. And the thief laughs at you, telling me not to steal, and look, I'm a thief, and look, I get a bag of gold. What does your God give you? Nothing. So this man was like, really, it's true. Is there a divine energy? Is there a God? He's really disturbed. He's so disturbed by this. He goes to his church, his temple, starts praying, and he sees the priest. There's a priest, I am so disturbed. I don't know what to believe. I have so many doubts. You know, all my life I have tried to tell my friend to stop stealing, and look what happens to him. He gets a bag of gold, and I'm so poor. And the priest laughs, and he said, that's because you don't see the bigger picture. He said, in your friend's previous life, he was very generous. He gave a lot away. So his dharma, whether he stole or not, was to have a lot of money in this life. However, he's used his life badly. He'll still get the money, but now the next life will be in trouble. He said, you, my friend, you were a thief. And this life, you are doing everything so well. And in the spirit world, you are gaining a lot of points. And after that, he said, okay, I understand. You know, sometimes on the outside, things look really nice. You know, many people I know give to charity, show off, do this, do that. And because of all the counseling I've done over the years, they do all this charity, and then you see them so horrible to their whole own families, so miserly with their own family. You know, won't give them family anything, and yet to the world give everything. And then I go, this is really hypocrisy. But you know, I see those people don't fare very well. So never be jealous of it. Never be jealous of what you see. Just think that you're in the best place. At least you're happy. At least you got somebody to love you. At least you're in a kind place. And like I said, you know, the my other favorite story, lots of stories, is the Swami and the prostitute. Another one of my favorite stories that really changed my entire life by listening to this. See, like I said last week, I was very impressed with anybody who had a priest uniform or a Swami's uniform or a monk's uniform or a nun's uniform. I was so impressed. I had a lot to learn. And so this story taught me a lot. Don't be impressed by the outside. Be impressed by the inside. There was a Swami who was a monk, and there was a prostitute, and they lived across the river from each other. The Swami did a lot of charity, fed the poor, looked after all the people, but every day in his mind he would look across at the prostitute. Awful woman, people like her shouldn't be on this earth. She should, she's dirt and dust, we should not even give her 1 penny. And he would think, every day he would just think, get so angry at this prostitute. And on the contrary, this prostitute every day would look across the river and say, dear God, I have no skills, I have no knowledge, but please, and all I can do is prostitute my body to feed my family. Please, 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 God, in my next life, please make me like that Swami. Please make me good. Please make me kind. Please make me holy. Please. And every day this was her prayer. It so happens they both died on the same day. And as they were rising off to the spirit world, this beautiful gold chariot comes and picks up the prostitute. And the Swami goes, no. Because there comes these 3 dark men. And he goes, no, these 3 dark men are for her, and the chariot's for me. And then this higher soul goes, no, we don't get it wrong in this spirit world. Let me show you, Swamiji. No, you got it wrong. No, we'll show you. Let's come back to earth. So the higher soul takes his soul, the Swami soul, back to earth. And he takes the Swami to the prostitute's home. And her body is just thrown by the beach. And all the vultures are eating her body. Nobody at her funeral. Says, you see, when she was on earth, she did not look after her body. So look what's happening to her body. And then he took him to the Swami's funeral. Hundreds of people crying, Swamiji, Swamiji. On earth, you looked after your body. And look at your funeral. How nice. But now, you both don't have a body. And she looked after her mind. All day long, in her mind, she was praying. There was not a bad thought in her mind. In the spirit world, she is a queen. But you, Swamiji, all day long, you were criticizing, finding fault with everyone. Although the deeds you did on the outside were wonderful in your mind. And now you no longer have your body. So, this is where you should be. So this is why it's so important to be sincere, sincere, humble on this path. Because that is the spirit. So that's the story of the Swami and the prostitute. So you never know. And make yourself pure inside. You know yourself when you are, even when you're going through a rough time, you know why you like yourself more. Even though you are suffering, even though you're going through a rough time, there will be some miracle in that day. See it. It may be small miracles. How many times have I seen in Kim and Ole's life their struggles? They really have had struggles in this lifetime. And I always see by some miracle they get saved. Because the good they do so much good. All this, why does Ole have to be here or Kim have to be here? They've done the course in Shanti, they don't need to be helping. But they come every week so that everybody can get this. And get it freely. And don't you think that's honorable? Don't you, in this awful weather, never misses. And last week he went all the way home because he forgot the candle. We really should be fun. Yeah. And and I said, Ole, it doesn't matter, 1 week. What was his answer? No, it matters for those who have not come here and missed the class today. Nobody thanks him. But do you see how far service is? Doesn't make a big deal. But for me, that is real service. Thank you, and that's his wish, and the same for these people. They come for what? And there's horrible weather just because I want to be mad enough. Doesn't mean everybody can be mad enough. But they're not mad enough. And you know what? That brings the wholeness out of them. And that is so nice to see, because I watch their service and I see that, really every time when they cannot sink that far, they're always saved. They're always saved. Am I right? Always. Every time they've really gone through trauma, and they've always come up smiling and always laughing. And this is a greatness that really, in itself is a reward. In itself is a reward. So, to one established and non-stealing, all well comes. So please read this sutra when you go home. It's far deeper, and really think about it. The next one, brahmacharya. To one established in continence, vigor is gained. Again, Brahma means God. Charya means student of God. Now, in many places is translated as celibacy. For me, this is an incorrect translation. I'm not trying to dispute with the books or anything, but much of this was written for monks at that time, or people who were studying just to devote all their time, not in the world, but in monasteries and nunneries where they can pray for the world, offer it to the world. And of course, what happens is when you practice celibacy, because the hormone itself is so powerful, it is so powerful that it creates a baby, right? So it can create a new life. What happens is, if your mind is pure, and this is where the danger starts, if your mind is pure, then that energy rises to your higher energy fields, and you gain a lot of vigor, strength to do a lot of things in your life. Because it's not dissipating the energy, it's collecting that hormone and that energy. However, if you are living in a relationship and if you have a partner, then moderation should be applied, not extremities, either way. I have seen in my years of counseling now, too little causes problems in the marriage or partnership. Too much causes problems in a partnership. Too much thinking. So I tell couples many of the times, don't you think so much? When you love each other, make it natural. Give it quality. And that quality, when done in love, not because the news says that you have to make love every single day of the week, or what is moderation? What is moderation to you? Everybody has a different thing of moderation. For me, some people tell me, some couples tell me 1 year, some people say 6 months, some people say once a week, some people say twice a week. I don't know, what is moderation to you? Everybody is different. Everybody has different energy fields. You have to learn to know about yourself. And moderation is the best practice. Why? You have too much sex, you think about it all the time. You have same with money. If you have too little, you think about it all the time. Isn't it true? Well, I've seen that in relationships. Too much, too little destroys. Moderation, with love, builds a deep self-respect for each, and respect for each other. And it becomes special. Gurdjieff used to say, and I love what he said, if you feast every day, there will come a time when you want to throw up. Isn't it true? But if you feast once in a while, and you really enjoy it, you have such a good time, it's so delicious. And this is where moderation is applied here. Also, it maintains your bodily fluids at the right hormonal level, not too much, not too little, no problems in the mind. But moderation is a hard thing in today's world. Because why? Because every program you watch on TV, somebody's cheating on another, and it's the norm, you know? And that can't be the norm because it's stealing. You steal somebody else's partner, you steal somebody else's life. I've seen so many lives ruined because of this. You know, if two people don't get along, I say, okay, you don't get along, and you finish with each other, and then go off to somewhere else. But if somebody belongs to somebody else, please don't take somebody else for yourself. Don't take somebody else's partner for yourself. Somebody is married, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Please don't, because this will cause a lot of trouble and pain. And all I've seen, like I said, in the 20 years of counseling, when people have not been, when they've committed adultery, men and women alike, you know, I've seen disease come in. I've seen pain and sorrow come in. I have seen families destroyed. I have seen arguments and screaming and swearing like you've never seen before. For me, that is hell. Why would you want to live there? Why would you want to live there? Don't you think you deserve the best? Don't you think you deserve a loving, honest, caring relationship where you can just relax with each other and be so natural? And if one partner needs something, the other partner complies. Why not? I know I can't. This. It's all mind stuff. Once one of my students came to me when he read Brahmacharya, and of course if you read different books, it's really quite strict. They'll say, no, some schools of Raj Yoga say, they actually, I know quite a few marriages that have broken up, they say definitely no sex at all. So one partner has left the marriage. Now, it's fine if they go and join whatever group they want to join and they find happiness, but I have not seen that. When they leave the partner because they want to practice brahmacharya and they say they want to go to God, I see them go to the other place causing more trouble there. Then, you know, it's repressed. And this is why we hear in churches, etc., temples, everywhere, you know, there's so much wrong going on, so much, you know, they pick on the altar boys and this one and that one. It's very sad. Because it's a natural instinct that needs to be worked out in time. When they repress it, it becomes dangerous. Again, untruthful. You see how they're all linked? They're all linked. You have to be very truthful to yourself. You have to be very truthful for where you are in your own life, in your own teaching. Yeah, so anyway, this student came to me one day, Nalanie, I want to see God, he said. I said, great, who doesn't? I'm really happy. So he goes, I am going to practice brahmacharya. And I go, does your wife know? I go, does your wife know? Have you spoken to her about that? You know, because he was talking about celibacy, not moderation. And he goes, no, but she just has to accept I'm going after a higher cause. And I said, and she's a lower cause? Did we not say God is everywhere? Do you think you have a right to make her suffer without her permission just because you want to see God? So you can see God by destroying somebody else. Does that make sense to you? You haven't even consulted her. And then he goes, oh my God, I lost it, didn't I? Then another time I was giving a Raj Yoga course, and one of the male students, he said he was practicing brahmacharya, and I thought he wanted to be a monk, and I thought, great, that's what he wants, no problem. And then of course when we're doing the course, I see a lot of aggression and anger coming out in him. And I go, why is he so angry. You can feel when somebody's got so much repression and anger that there's something wrong. So I asked to speak to him. I said, can I speak to you in my time? Why are you so angry? What are you doing? You want to be a monk, you want to do this? And then he goes, I'm practicing brahmacharya. I said, uh-oh. He just said the first thing, right? So I said, what is that telling you? He said, what is it telling me? I said, are you supposed to? Are you hiding? And then, he starts sobbing and crying. He's practicing, but he has all these thoughts all night. He thinks of sex and lust. And I go,
He was frustrated.
correct. And I said, go find yourself a girlfriend. You're not a monk yet. When you're ready, go to be a monk. At this time, you're not. And please don't become a monk because I'm scared what you'll do to other people, and disillusion them. I told him that. And you know what? All of you have a talk, right? And there were different subject matters. And guess which talk he picked?
He experimented very well.
It was so we both laughed. Since then he's married. So interesting, isn't it? Interesting. It just, you learn, this is why when you start teaching, my best teachers have been my students. And I've learned so much. And I've learned extreme in anything just doesn't work. You are where you are now. Look at where you are. And you'll know what you need and what you don't need. And if you don't need it, you can be sure it'll be out of your life. So just don't think so much. All you do is just be grateful for every day, and everything will kind of like a jigsaw puzzle start to fit in place. It just starts to fit in place. So please read this chapter. It's beautiful, and it is true that when you do observe celibacy, you preserve. If you look at page 140, second paragraph. By observing celibacy or moderation for householders, we preserve not just physical energy alone, but mental, moral, intellectual, and ultimately spiritual energy as well. Sexual energy that is preserved gets transformed into a subtle energy called ohas. This is similar to personal magnetism. It tones the entire personality, builds the nerves, improves brain power, and calms the mind. This is a similar word to ohas. There is a similar word to ohas in English, ozo. In the early morning, before sunrise, we can go out and breathe the ozonic wind, which has a special vibration and energy to it. But once the sun rays fall, this effect is lost. That is why the period between 4 and 6 in the morning is called the Brahma Muhurta, the Brahmic time or divine period, and it is a very sacred time to meditate. So sometimes, if you're woken up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning suddenly, just sit up and meditate. Don't fight it. Just sit up and meditate. You can go back to sleep after you finish. Because sometimes I see people who practice this path, they're so used to sleeping long, but they're woken up at 5:36, 4. They're just woken up and they struggle to sleep. And I said, oh, no, the gods are calling you. Easy, you don't have to wake yourself up. You don't have to have an alarm clock. You just wake up. Just sit up and start to meditate. Use it. And then after half an hour, if you're sleepy, go back to sleep. And that hour that you go back to sleep afterwards is the best hour you will have. Honest. I do it a lot, so I can tell you that. Sometimes I even get up at 3:30. I meditate 5:30, go back to sleep till 7:15. I can't get up later than that. And I feel great. The sleep after the meditation is fantastic.
It's to me the same.
Yes, yes,
I mean,
good, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
you get your information during that time.
Do I get my information during?
Through the dreams, before.
Yeah, I get lots at that time, after my meditation. It's a really good question. Yes, a lot of it in that dream time afterwards. A lot of it. Because it's like you're not fully asleep and you get a lot of dreams and they're clear and you can remember them because you've been awake in that zone, the twilight zone. You're in that zone already, you see? So easy to receive because you're in that dimension. You're not so physically on earth. And that's a time when you get lots. Very, very good question. Yes, that's the time. It's really a good time. So do it. See, you say it happens to you.
Yeah.
You say it happens to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's exactly the same time
Yeah.
for a period.
Yeah.
I wake up, I look, and it's maybe 4:45
Yeah.
every day for a few days, and then nothing for a few days, and then it will come again.
Yeah.
But it's very clear. It's
Yeah.
very quiet and clear.
Yeah, for me it was like that, and it's still like that. I just get, oh, I'm woken up. Really good. I'm awake. I'm really awake. Don't struggle to go back to sleep. Don't waste your time. Get up and meditate at that time. You really, it's so quiet. There's not a sound at that time. Everything is so quiet, especially living here. Nothing, not even the birds are singing. There's nothing. It's just, you just hear silence. It's beautiful. It's really such a nice time, you know? And to keep yourself awake, you can just light a little candle next to you, keep one next to you, sit up right away, and just breathe. Oh, thank you, you woke me up. And thank you for waking me up. And then after that, if you're still tired because you know you have a long day, and you sleep half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever you get. But enjoy, it's really, don't fight it. That's the secret. Just enjoy it. Really, really, it's such a nice thing. 39. Will somebody read that, please?
When non-greed is confirmed, a thorough illumination of the how and why of one's birth comes.
Would you like to continue reading that first paragraph?
Aparigraha is
Abstention.
abstention from greed or hoarding, which is a form of stealing, or not receiving gifts. Many times we get gifts that are merely an advance for a future obligation. One day someone comes to us with a gift, and the next day he or she telephones to say, remember the gift that I gave you? Well, could you please do a little something for me? We feel
How many of you
obliged.
know this one?
We feel obliged to do that then. Even the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, won't accept business gifts as being tax deductible because they aren't a real donation. They are only given to get something in return. A donation means something given just for the sake of giving, not for name, money, or publicity. Accepting gifts binds us and makes us lose our neutrality. The mind will say, you received a gift from him. How can you say something against him? On the other hand, if we are strong enough to remain free of obligation, we can accept gifts. Feel, I am giving her an opportunity to use her money in the right way, but I am not obligated by this gift. She shouldn't come to me tomorrow for an obligation. Then we are not bound. When the mind becomes this calm and clear by being free of desires and obligations, we gain the capacity to see how our desires caused our present birth. We directly see the cause and effect relationship because we are detached from it. We are no longer bound up with it.
And this is really, really important about gifts. You know, and I'd like to read to you the Gita, Bhagavad Gita chapter. You just write this note down, because when you have the Gita, then it's a really good one to read. Chapter 17, slokas 20 to 23. 17.
Sorry, 22,
23.
23.
And I'll read it to you. Because when I started studying this, and of course my two Bibles are right here in front of me, I read this. You know, I told you to study about the gunas, and we haven't covered that yet, but we will. after we finish all the yamas and yamas. This is also to do with the goodness, the way of giving. And this is how gifts should be given. 20. When you give something to someone simply because you feel it is right to give it, and there's no thought of receiving anything in return, and it is given at the right moment, at the right place, to the right person, that is pure giving. So whenever you give a gift, it should be like that. You should expect nothing in return. Don't tell me afterwards, oh, I did this for this person and I gave this person and they did this to me. Too bad. That means you did it for something. When you give it with all your heart and soul. Otherwise, you know what? Don't give it. Just don't. You're better off to yourself. All right? Now, here it says, if a gift is given reluctantly or in hopes of receiving a favor or anything else in return, that giving is motivated primarily by the desires of a restless mind. It shows that when you do something, you want something in return, you have a restless mind. Of course, you will. Can you see why? Because you're expecting something in return. So you'll never be happy till you get something in return. You know, and all politicians do this, don't they? They get these huge sums of money given to them by the weapons department, so they, of course, they have to promote weapons. You would think that such an intelligent country like America would stop the gun laws, would start with gun laws. So many people have taken guns and shot people off schools and streets. Why don't they have a gun law? Why? It doesn't make sense, does it? Only the people who are military should have guns or policemen to protect. Not everybody just can buy a gun and shoot. Why? Business. You know, you accept something, you have to give something back. Careful. This is why our world has gone all mad and crazy. All these big bonuses in banks, it's ridiculous. And then the ordinary man on the street, saving and working for years, all the money gone. Why? Because somebody's stealing. Pardon?
Higher up.
Higher up. Of course, what do these huge bonus at somebody else's cost? The man in the street? Of course it's stealing. They cover it with fancy words, like bonus. Stealing is the word. Because, you know, if your business is not doing well, you cannot be taking the profits of somebody else's money. It will always hit back in the end. In the end, it will create disaster. My chimes.
You're loud tonight.
They're singing, yeah, they're happy.
I agree with you.
It's not me, I didn't write this. I wish I had, but I didn't take credit for anything. So, 22. If a gift is given rudely or without affection to an inappropriate person at the wrong place and wrong time, that is giving from a state of dullness. Here you see that a gift is not always a gift. A sattvic gift is one where you have carefully considered the person who will receive it, the time, the place, and everything else about it. You know that that person can use that gift, and you give it as joy without any expectation in return. So-called business gifts are rajasic, which is what we often see. That's why Lord Krishna recommends giving to someone who isn't able to give anything back in return to you. And that's why we should do charity. Because when we do charity, we shouldn't expect anything in return from those people that we give to. They really need it. We help them, thank God, and let them do well. Let them get better. But don't expect anything back. And then there isn't even any thinking about getting something back. See? And such a person is the most deserving recipient. If someone already has something and you give her something more, it may be a good act, but of course, the most deserving person to receive your gift is the one who doesn't have anything. So then you stay wise. You stay wise. So this is really important. Greed, hoarding is a big one. You know, today we see people, you know, with so much extra, so much extra. I always say, if you have extra and you see somebody come, give them. And I know so many people who hoard. They have like cupboards and cupboards and cupboards full of clothes. And I ask them, why do you keep so much? Oh, because one day I may lose the weight to fit into them. Meanwhile, all the cupboards are getting full. I knew a lady, and this is in Gibraltar, this is absolutely true. She had one apartment extra just to put all her hoarding, honest. All the hoarding, because her husband was very wealthy. So she had lots of things, but she wouldn't give anything away. So he had to buy the second apartment, which she was planning to rent out, but instead got all her things. And they came to me because he was like so frustrated, couldn't get through to her. She could not give a penny to anything. I remember once we had a fundraising, a flag day, we call it in Gibraltar, to raise money for some charity, wasn't our own, many, many years ago. And I asked her, please could you, give something to the charity? I don't give charity. Oh my goodness, what do you do with these people? As if they can take it to the grave. God save me, she actually has passed away. I just realized the same lady has passed away. Not happening. Very miserable, very unhappy person. All her children, no respect for her. None of her children respected her. Husband totally treated her like rubbish. And all because of this hoarding. She was so attached to her stuff, she wouldn't give anything away. I really actually had to counsel her, but it didn't matter, it didn't work. I told her husband after 2 times, because he came to me for help, can't help her. I'm sorry, I can't waste any more time. Because some people just refuse. She was so tamasic. She refused. I even volunteered to go to the house and clear it up for her. I'm very good at giving things away. You wouldn't let me.
But that could have been her karma. If, like the book says, you give when you give from the heart. And if she couldn't give from the heart, maybe she wasn't meant to give.
I think you've misunderstood that teaching right there. No, not if you understand. It was totally selfishness. Come from a place of tamasic. Her good karma was having people there to try and bring her up, to help her up. That was her good karma, to help her elevate herself. But she didn't want to be bothered. She was like too attached. This was total attachment. There's nothing to do with karma. She just really was, it's my stuff, my stuff.
But to break that, I mean, it's through the knowledge that
which she was so lucky she was getting. She was lucky, that was her good karma. She was getting the knowledge. She knew the knowledge. She knew that she should give away, but she just didn't want to. She didn't want to make the effort. She was a tamasic human being. No.
No, because I don't see it clearly if that person is so stuck.
She didn't want to move. You know, have you ever seen a person, let me explain to you, who's so like attached to something? Any of you seen a person like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're just so attached. It's like an addiction. It's a terrible addiction. We talked about addiction last week. Now, you go to a person who's an addict, a drug addict, or any addict, or alcoholic, right? And we try to help them. Some will realize that they go to the very bottom and they'll get the help, but they'll get the help. And others will just refuse and keep insisting that they're not. Because they're just too attached to that alcohol or too attached to that drug. Not because they're not getting the help, because they got so deep into materialism. I think the good karma is when you see, this is where we say we can't change much of the circumstances in our life, destiny. What we can change is this moment. And that's why so many people, when they're so stuck in their ways, when they get help, they will not even see it. That's a very sad cause. Because the divine energy is sending you help from all directions. And if you're not able to receive it, it's because You are totally enmeshed in the world of materialism. So I knew she was totally enmeshed. No point, nothing I could do. My husband couldn't
How
do
was
it.
she before? Because sometimes
Always the same. The nature was down, lazy. You see, by nature, that's what Buddha says, the worst crime you can have is laziness. So when somebody is lazy, I always say, do something, start to move, start to do exercise, start to run, do some exercise. Because her nature was tamasic. And of course she married a very wealthy man, so she didn't need to work. So she became more lazy. But then he started to dislike her, because when he married her, she wasn't as lazy as she was afterwards. The more he provided, the more lazy she got. And many times I'm sure you've seen that in your own life. And they don't get to like themselves, these people. They're not happy people. She was not happy. She was miserable. But no matter how much I tried to talk to her, pardon?
It's almost like they start to rot because there's no movement in their lives.
Absolutely.
But that's why I say maybe it's her karma. If no one could get through to it, like you say, I'm not saying that because you're
I say
saying
I
you
don't.
tried, but we're not saying that you didn't try. You obviously tried.
I'm not
maybe,
talking about me trying or not.
But that's what I mean. But when that person couldn't change, maybe it's her karma or his karma that couldn't change.
Yeah, you see, this is what the Indians use as an excuse. And Paramahansa Yogananda speaks about this all the time. He says, when you go to India, they'll say, Paramahansa Yogananda, and even Gurudev would say, many times. So you go to India, and they'll say, it's my karma. I'm poor. What can I do? So they sit the man, and you go to, this is very relevant, still happening today. In Nepal is terrible. The man, they drink, they have enough money to buy alcohol, beat their wives, send them off in the streets to work. My karma, I'm poor, what can I do? This is my karma. And if you read Paramahansa Yogananda book, this is a feeble excuse for laziness. A feeble excuse. They use the law of karma to help them. Karma is when there's really nothing you can do about something. You really can't. You do your best, and we always say do your best and let God do the rest. You do your best. And then it doesn't happen. That's karmic. That is karmic. But this kind of behavior, not karmic. It's not karmic. It's very good that you brought this up, because it's very hard to, it's so subtle. It's so subtle. Then we can say, well, it was meant to be, we might as well forget.
So no one has that excuse. Everyone can change.
Everyone can change. And the good karma is, for me, the good karma is that she was so lucky to get the help, but she couldn't see it. She couldn't see it. And I've seen this in my life, not only with people like her, but many, many, many people. They're very lucky. But then, that's their choice. This is a choice. When we come to Earth, we are given the choice. Earth is our university, our master always used to tell us, this is where you learn. We're to raise beyond the material to the spiritual. We have a body. On Earth, we can learn quickly. When we go back to the spirit, we no longer have a body to learn that quickly. We spend many hundreds of years there. So that's why all the great saints and sages say, make use, in every tradition, make use of this life while you have a good, capable body to do things, to plant as many good seeds as you can. Because this is really important. And that's why your brother gave you that message. We were trying to wake the spirit up in her. But she was too into the material world. She was too into her things. We couldn't wake the spirit because she didn't want. She didn't want to work hard. That's the difference.
Thank you. I'm not trying to debate it because I don't understand.
Good.
That's
good.
Just
clearly
clearly
a woman.
Because why she didn't want? She didn't realize that.
She didn't want to work.
Huh?
Don't want to work. Too lazy. It's hard work. You come here every Tuesday with the rain, with this. You study. You see yourself. You cry. You suffer. You go through your mental things in your mind. Ritties, yes. This doesn't work. This is not true. Do you think this is hard work? This is really hard work. Yeah, this is hard work. But it's work that is forever. Something that will keep you forever. Why do you think not more people are doing it? It's much harder work than anything else you're going to do in your life, but it's the most rewarding work. She did not want to do that work, because when you look at yourself and you don't like what you see, it's hard work, and you have to change it. And this is what all the new masters are saying. Don't be scared of what you see. Be truthful. If you don't like what you see for me, change it. Full stop. But the ego, no, I can't appear like that. My friends can't appear to see me like that. I have to appear. So the ego is too powerful. And that's when you have to tell yourself, like your brother said to you, tell people they're not this body, they're the spirit. Wake the spirit up in them. And that's what we were trying to do. Wake it up. But after you give everything and you volunteer everything, and the person, yes, doesn't want to do anything, I'm not going to waste my time. I'd rather be with somebody who's going to use that energy. Otherwise, I'll get drowned in her negativity. I don't want to do that too. I'm no use to anybody. Give somebody that's so negative 5 hours when I can give 5 hours to 5 different people who are going to make a difference to the world. Some people are lazy, some people want to serve, others don't. Of course, you will always go for the student who wants to serve, And I'll finish off with this last story yes, there was this great master, and he was training all the monks, teaching them all the great philosophies. But one of his students was a king. His name was King Janak. King Janak is very famous in Hindu history. He was one of the most incredible kings in the Hindu kingdom, like Lord Rama. Lord Rama was, that's why we have the mantra Ram. Lord Rama, one day I'll tell you the story of the Ramayana. It's a beautiful story. And it covers all the aspects of our life as well. So anyway, King Janak came to this Gurukulam to study with this great guru, because he wanted to know the truths, and of course all the monks got jealous. They got really jealous, and the guru could hear them thinking, could see their faces. They said, of course our teacher loves King Janak. He always gives him special attention. Why does he love him so much? Because he's rich. Of course, that's why. He's rich. He provides our ashram with food and clothes. And the guru heard them say that. So one day he decided to play a trick on them. When they're all meditating, and he shouted, the guru shouted, "Fire! Fire!" All the monks jumped up and ran to the clothesline. And whereas King Janak just sat there deep into meditation, and the monks came back and they saw King Janak there. They said, "Oh, it's a false alarm." And the teacher, the guru, said to them, "Yeah, I was trying to teach you a lesson. I shouted fire. You people only have one lungi. Lungi is the bottoms outside on the clothesline. And you ran for that one lungi. This king, he has thousands and millions to lose. What did he do? He wasn't bothered. He was so involved in his time with his spirit." So that's the story. And after that, they never complained again, or asked the king why, or asked the guru why he loved that student. Of course, if you have a student who's devoted and really wants the truth, you want to give them more time because they want it. It's delicious for them. But if somebody just takes the knowledge and throws it away, you give them whatever time is needed, and after that you won't give any extra. What's the point? Because the cup is empty, you want to fill it up. But if it's full and they think they know it all, you can't be bothered. And really that is how it is. Because there's so much to do in our life, there's so much work to do, there's so much love to give, there's so many people who need it. You don't want to waste time, too much time, on people who just drag their feet. Not because you don't have compassion. It's just they don't want it. And like you said, if they want it, after a few years they'll come back. They really want it, they'll come. And then they will come hungry. And then you can feed them. When people are hungry, you can feed them well. So That's how you use this knowledge, and that's why the stories to help you understand it. And what you do with these stories is you use them in your own life, your own stories. Because all of us have these stories in our own lives. All of us have gone through something or other with greed, with, brahmacharya, with asteya, with satya, and with ahimsa. All of us have gone through things like that in our lives. So, and you start to reflect on your own life. You don't criticize yourself. You look at yourself as if you're a stranger. With great compassion to yourself, you adapt, adjust, accommodate, so that you can bring the best out in you. That's all you do. Simply adapt, adjust, and accommodate. So you like yourself more, so you're more comfortable in your body, you're more comfortable in your spirit, you're happier in your life, because now there is nothing there. And then you can be in the now. Then you can be in the now. Then it's so easy. Because you keep coming back. Who am I? I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self I am. That's who you are, it's the truth. Try and change it. You can't. That is the only truth you know. You're not this body, you're not this mind, you're immortal. You know it. That's the only truth. We're all going to die. Physically, we're never going to die energetically. So, this is our insurance time. Ensure we live our life well, so the future will be well.
They're not even going to insure us anymore. I was told by the insurance the other day.
You were what?
They're not going to insure us anymore. I went to do a life insurance, critical life insurance, and they're going to do it anymore.
Why?
Because there are too many people getting ill.
Really?
It's true.
Oh, how interesting.
They can't find one. Yes, it's no, they're going to take it off. There's too many people getting ill. So, if you don't have one, don't worry, you won't get another one. So don't get ill.
Not all businesses last forever.
No.
They did.
Not all businesses last forever. And the truth is, yes, because you know why? The process is rushing along. The spiritual process is rushing along. I think for a long time people had, good lives, and now we're seeing a lot of people die suddenly with lots of diseases, strange things. So we're really being rushed to recognize that, we are spirit, we're not here for a long time. And we better heed that call. Heed that call. Listen to it. It's a call. And we don't hear it, we hear it in our dreams. Listen to it. If you don't hear it in your dreams, you'll open a book and you'll see a message, or you'll turn on the television set and you'll hear something. But your teacher's everywhere, and that's what I learned when my master died. I realized he said, I will be with you everywhere, and everywhere there are lessons. And that's how you live in the now. And everything is a lesson for us to grow, otherwise we wouldn't be here. We chose to be here to learn, to grow, and to go into the other levels. In my Father's house there are many mansions. So we want to get to the better mansions and go back home. That's all. We just want to get back home. We have karma to fix, and we're given many, many opportunities to fix it. And then sometimes... Thank God. Yes, exactly. So grateful for that. So grateful. And all of us keep learning. So never mind if you make a mistake or you don't know something. God always provides another teacher. Everyone is a teacher. She needed some information. I could not give it to her. She gave it. Steve gave it. Do you see how it works? It's always God provides wherever there's sincere need. Everywhere comes the lesson. You never know where it's going to come from. You never know when it's going to come. So that to me is living a very interesting and exciting life, Every minute is different, it's an adventure. Why would you want anything else?